Amina woke up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. In the dream, she had seen Idris covered in blood, calling out to her. She hadn't seen him in years, but the memory of their oath haunted her. Something was terribly wrong. In a small village nestled between the hills of Odu, two young lovers, Amina and Idris, were inseparable. From childhood, they had shared dreams, laughter, and a bond so deep that they believed nothing could ever come between them. As they grew older, their affection blossomed into a passionate love. Fearing that life might one day tear them apart, they sought to solidify their bond. One evening, they visited the village shrine, where they made a blood covenant, cutting their palms and mingling their blood as they vowed to love each other forever. The shrine priest warned them of the gravity of their action. This is not just a promise, it is a binding oath. Should you ever part, you will face the wrath of the gods. Time passed, and life pulled Idris toward the bustling city of Kano. Opportunities awaited him there, far beyond the village borders. Though Amina was heartbroken at the thought of him leaving, Idris reassured her that their covenant would keep them connected. Our bond is eternal, he whispered before leaving. Nothing will break it. Amina stayed in the village, tending to her family and dreaming of the day when Idris would return. Letters flowed between them at first, full of promises and longing. But as time passed, the letters became less frequent, and Amina could feel the weight of their separation growing heavier on her heart. In the city, Idris flourished. He met new people, engaged in business, and eventually crossed paths with a beautiful young woman named Halima. Halima was different from Amina. She was sophisticated, wealthy, and fit perfectly into Idris' new life. Despite the love he once had for Amina, Idris began to distance himself from their past, seeing it as a part of another life. Idris and Halima soon fell in love, and against his better judgment, Idris married her. He tried to forget the blood covenant, believing it was nothing more than a relic of his past. Yet, a nagging feeling lingered in the back of his mind, warning him that the oath he had taken with Amina was not to be ignored. Back in the village, Amina waited. She had heard rumors of Idris' new life in the city, but refused to believe them. Her love for him was steadfast, and she trusted in their covenant. However, as months turned into years, the realization slowly crept in. Idris was not coming back. Eventually, Amina married a kind farmer named Bello. Though her heart was never fully his, Bello adored her. But Amina's mind often wandered to memories of Idris. She had made peace with her choice, yet deep down, the bond of the covenant still pulsed in her soul, a reminder of promises left unfulfilled. After their separate marriages, both Idris and Amina began to experience strange occurrences. Idris' business ventures, once thriving, started to crumble without reason. Deals fell apart at the last moment, and his health began to falter. Doctors in the city could not explain the cause of his sudden decline. Meanwhile, Halima grew concerned, watching her once confident husband lose hope and strength. Amina, too, noticed changes. Despite her quiet life with Bello, she began to experience vivid nightmares, visions of the shrine, of blood, and of Idris calling out to her. The once peaceful village now felt suffocating, and Amina often woke up in the middle of the night, covered in cold sweat, haunted by their long-ago covenant. One day, while Idris was bedridden from yet another mysterious illness, an older healer visited him. The healer took one look at Idris and knew what was wrong. "You have angered the spirits," the healer warned. "You made a blood covenant, a bond that you broke. This illness is a result of that broken oath." At the same time, in the village, Amina sought to the village priestess. After her nightmares grew unbearable, the priestess listened carefully and then said, "The gods do not forget Amina. The covenant you made with Idris binds your souls. Until it is resolved, neither of you will know peace. Amina was torn. Though she had tried to move on, she realized that her fate was still intertwined with Idris. Bello, though unaware of the covenant, noticed Amina's distress and grew worried. But Amina could not bring herself to tell him the truth. The weight of the curse hung over her, threatening to destroy everything she had built with her new husband. Desperate, Amina considered journeying to the city to confront Idris. She knew that their separation had caused his suffering, but she was unsure if they could ever fix what had been broken. In the city, Idris struggled with guilt. His once perfect life with Halima had become a nightmare as his fortune dwindled and his health deteriorated. Idris began to remember the words of the shrine priest and realized that no matter how far he ran from his past, the blood covenant still held him captive. Haunted by memories of Amina, Idris knew he had to face the truth. He could no longer ignore the connection that bound them. He began making preparations to return to the village, hoping to find a way to break the curse and free them both from the shackles of their oath. Amina and Idris reunited at the shrine, where they had once made their promise. Both had aged and carried the burdens of their choices, but the bond between them was still palpable. The shrine priest, much older now, greeted them with a knowing look. "You cannot break a blood covenant without a great sacrifice," he told them. The couple knelt before the deity seeking forgiveness. The priest offered them two choices. They could sacrifice something precious from their current lives or face eternal misfortune for themselves and their families. Both Amina and Idris knew what they had to do. They would offer up the happiness of their current lives, the love they had found with Bello and Halima, in order to free themselves from the curse. It was a painful decision. They could no longer bear the consequences of their broken bond. With heavy hearts, they made the offering, and as the shrine fires flickered, the burdens of the covenant began to lift. Though their path would never cross again in love, Amina and Idris were freed from the wrath of the gods. They returned to their separate lives, now strangers to one another, but with peace in their hearts, knowing that their past no longer held them prisoner. And so, the tale of Amina and Idris became a cautionary legend in the village, a reminder that some promises once made could not be broken without a heavy price. If you love this video, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel, share this video to your loved ones so that they can learn one or two from the stories. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.